I guess the most interesting guy, kind of the charming, easiest guy to be around, was Ira Hayes. He talked about enthusiasm. He was the most humorous of all of us, was Ira Hayes. And he was the master of visual aids. He had all these visual aids on the stage, and he knew how to hit these visual aids, and it was really something to watch how he used these visual aids. It was incredible. So I learned from him a great deal, but he was very, very extremely friendly to me. And the most encouraging to me was Ira Hayes. I think I've kind of covered that basis, but I'd like to move on to another letter. This letter I got after I went to Alaska as a mission president. And I just want to read this to you. President Douglas T. Snarr, 4749 Business Park Boulevard, Anchorage, Alaska. Dear President Douglas T. Snarr, for most of my life, I have been reaching upward to grasp something stronger than I. Something that I could pull myself up just another notch. This was probably triggered originally by the very poor circumstances in which our family lived when I was a young lad. I have daydreamed in the cotton fields under the uncomfortable rays of a pulsating sun. I have purchased self-help books, which somehow gave me an extra boost. I have listened to success whenever and wherever I could. Last year, I heard the Positive Thinking Rally advertisement. It was to be held in Memphis, Tennessee, about 200 miles away, and I wanted to go badly. I wanted to hear Paul Harvey and Art Linkletter. I reluctantly let my work and the distance keep me away. Then this summer, as I drove to work, I heard another enthusiastic advertisement of this great rally. I wanted to go hear my two favorite speakers. I did not know very well the other speakers, even though I had heard Earl Nightingale and Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. And now it was to be held right here in Little Rock, Arkansas. Now I could go. I am purchasing director for Keeley Patterson Wholesale Electric Company, with state headquarters located in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Sensing my interest in continued education, the president of our company asked me if I would consider taking charge of a program whereby our employees could have access to self-building and character-improving tapes and literature. I accepted the job. I ordered Earl Nightingale's 3 major tape libraries and started the program. We could tell a big difference in attitude among our people engaged in this building process. When I learned that the rally pack was available from the Positive Thinking rallies, I ordered the packet. It arrived about a week before the rally was to be held here. How disappointed I was when the packet arrived and I saw that Paul Harvey was not featured. I called over to Memphis and complained that I wanted to have the tape of Paul Harvey. I did not want a book of tapes of people like Cabot Robert, Zig Ziglar, and Douglas T. Snarr, whom I knew nothing about. I wanted pros. I wanted experienced brand names. After the rally was over, I came back to the office very satisfied with what I had learned. Now, I opened up the rally pack and started to issue units to the various employees. Now, by the way, I didn't speak at that rally. One of our salesmen who had gone to the rally wanted to check out a tape. I told him that the good tapes were out already. But here is one by a Douglas T. Snarr. He wasn't at the rally, so you may not like it. I've never heard of this guy. The next morning, that salesman pulled the door wide open and moved in with more intent and enthusiasm than I have ever seen in him before. He told me, quote, "Ron, this Doug Snarr is a better speaker than any of those at the rally. You have got to hear him," end of quote. I told him that my cassette player suddenly came up missing, and I was ordering another. That player was back ordered. For the next week and a half, I listened as one employee after another returned the tapes, most without much comment, with the exception of the Snarr tape. And everyone commented favorably about that. But now, I was wanting my tape player to arrive because I had a burning desire to hear that much talked about tape. My wife found my original cassette player where one of our 6 children had hidden it well under the couch at home. I put it in my car, hoping that someone would turn the Snarr tape in on that day. They did, and I immediately checked it out to myself. I kept it in my pocket so I could listen on the way home. The day, as all days, came to an end, and I dashed for my car, plugged in my recorder, and the Snarr tape. Normally I can drive home in 30 minutes and listen to one side of the average cassette. But today, it was different. This Douglas T. Snarr had the upper hand of my total being, and I drove slower and slower so I could hear all the tape before I arrived at my home. It did not happen completely, so I just sat in my driveway and listened until the end. I ran into the house where I told my wife about this thing, and I told her to listen to it the next day. She did. That evening, I gathered all my family around the dinner table, plugged in the tape, and started to listen. Immediately, the phone rang. It was my younger brother, who is self-employed and has been downcast lately. I told him, quote, "We are just starting this special tape, and I want you to listen to this guy talk," end of quote. Then I placed the telephone receiver over the player and left him hanging for 50 minutes. When the tape was over, he and his lovely wife were both on the phone and just delighted with what they had heard. I related quite well with the message. When I was young, I had a mild stuttering problem. And I'll close with that. But I was quite amazed by that. And it took me by surprise. And that he would take such time to write such a detailed, long letter on that tape. And so these things started to happen.